All right, this next section has us talking about binary code, and we talked about that a little bit earlier, and we specifically saw it in PostNet code and the Universal Product Code, or our UPC symbols, that you find on grocery items. The other examples that we might see of binary code is Braille, which is a series of raised or flattened areas on a piece of paper for a blind person to read, and Morse code. Morse code is a series of dots and dashes. So we're really looking at two things that are different, and they toggle between some kind of code of between the two of them. Remember, in our PostNet code, it's a series of small bars and long bars. Well, when we take a look at actually converting a message into other information that's a code, it's called encoding. And then sometimes there's an error that we might get, so we have to know how to check that error. So we've got two things we're going to accomplish in this video. One is to learn how to encode a message using the circle diagram method, and then the other one is to be able to tell if an error was made. All right, let's go ahead and jump in. You'll see to the left I have my circles, and this is the order of the numbers that I'm going to put into this system. And sometimes I'm just a little bit lazy to read Roman numerals, so sometimes I'll have a little reference circle, and that reference circle will give me all of the numbers that I need. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And with those reference numbers, those are the order in which I'm going to place either given numbers into a circle or the order through which I'm going to write them once I have them encoded. All right, let's take a look at an example. I have 1001. So I'm going to place these into my circle in order. So my first spot is this one right here. And my first spot on my number is right there. So I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 in this area. Then I'm going to look at the second one. That's a 0, and this is my placeholder for 2. So that's going to be a 0, and then I put the other 0, and then I have a 1. Okay, so 1, 0, 0, 1. Now here's kind of the fun part of determining how you would encode this. The trick of this circle method is that each circle must have an even number of ones, meaning 2 or 4. So we're going to call this circle A, we're going to call this circle B, and circle C. And I'll go ahead and put those on my reference circle as well. All right, when I'm looking at circle A, I see that I have a 1, a 0, and a 0. I have an odd number of ones. I can't have that. So I'm going to have to put the number 1 here in the main area for A. In that way, I end up with a 1 and a 1, which is odd. Okay, so I have an even. It's an even number. Then I'm going to look at B. My circle B already has 2 1s. That's an even number, so I don't want to change that. So the only way I can avoid changing that is by putting a 0 in there. And then I'm going to take a look at circle C. Circle C only has 1 1 in it. I want an even number. So I'm going to have to add a 1 by putting it out here in this area. So now that I've got them filled in, I can go ahead and write them in this order. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So let's go ahead and see what that looks like. So that's going to be 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, 1. So I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that would be my encoded part. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at another example. And again, I've drawn these little circles throughout this whole entire thing. So if you need to grab like a little cap of a soda or another round object to be able to make your circles, feel free to. Okay, so in this one, and I do want to note here too, you have your steps of what we just did right here. All right, let's take a look at example 2. Suppose you have the encoded message from example 1 is received as 0001101. How would we know an error was made? Well, let's go ahead and put that into, in fact, I'm going to move this closer to my actual code. All right, so I'm going to put this into my circle. So I have 0, 0, 0, 1, 1, 0, and 1. Okay, so what I'm going to do to check this is a little cheat that I do. I look at my A, my B, and my C. If I have all 1, if I have an even number of 1s, I'm going to call it good. And just put maybe a check mark in there. If I don't have the right number, I'm going to say not even. So I'm going to take a look at A. A, I have a single 1 and then everything else is 0. So obviously that's not even. So I'm going to need to take care of that. In B, when I take a look at B, I have 3 zeros and 1 1. Again, that's also not even. Okay. And then the third one would be C. I take a look at that and I have 2 1s. So it is good as is. So I don't need to make any changes to that one. All right. So how do I know what number needs to be changed? I take a look at what is having an issue. So I see that both A and B are messed up. So I'm going to look at the compartment or the section of my Venn diagram that contains both A and B. And that would be this area right here. Okay, it overlaps with my circle A, it overlaps with my circle B, but it does not touch my circle C. Notice that my circle C stops there, and this only takes the difference between the two. So the way I'm going to fix this is I'm going to go ahead and change this 0 to a 1. And when I do that, then I have an even number for A, an even number for B, and then of course my even number for C stays. So now I have the correct code. And because I had to change one, that's how I know there's an error. So our new code, or actually I should say our correct code, is going to be 1 0 0 1 1 0 1. Okay. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at the circle diagram to encode 0 1 1 1. So 0 1 1 1. And I want you to go ahead and pause the video and see if you can actually solve this on your own. And then pop back in and we'll check your answer. All right, again, we have circle A, circle B, and circle C. I'm going to take a look at circle A. I already have an even number of 1s, so I want to keep that. I'm just going to put a 0 in for A because I don't want any more 1s. Then I'm going to take a look at B. I already have an even number in B, so I'm going to maintain that by putting a 0 in there. And then I look at C. Well, C has 3 1s. I don't want an even number of 1s. So what I'm going to do is go ahead and put a 1 in here, and that will give me an even number. So I have my code. Now it's just a matter of writing it out. So 0 1 1 1 0 0 1. So there's the encoding of my number 0 1 1 1. All right. Again, let's take another look at an example here to encode. We have this message that we received. And again, I'm going to go ahead and move this closer to that number so that we can go ahead and check it. So I have 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 1, 1. A, B, and C. And so I'm going to go ahead and make my list off to the side, and then we're going to check each one. So I look at my circle A, I have 2 1s, so I'm perfect there. I look at B. B has 3 1s, so it's not even. And then I'm going to look at C. C has 4 1s, so it is fine. So now what do I change? Because it's only B that has a problem, I don't want to touch any area that overlaps, but I do want to affect B. The only area in B that does not overlap is this section right here. So I'm going to have to change this from a 1 to a 0. So I'm going to move that, change it to 0, and then I have B with an even number. And then I go ahead and write that number down. So it's 0, 1, 1, 1, 0, 0, 1. So that's what my corrected encoding should be. All right. Well, now that we've gone through the lesson, what I want you to do is go ahead and take a look at monitoring progress, and we'll take a look at that together in the next video.